Sitting down with Executive Director of the Ayn Rand Institute, Yaron Brook. I notice your bags are packed. Where are you headed?
Well, I'm heading to Europe. We are launching ARI Europe in about 10 days in Copenhagen. We've got a big launch event at the Saxo Bank World Headquarters in Copenhagen, Denmark. We're very excited about the event and really about the launch of a new project for the Ayn Rand Institute.
So ARI Europe, what is that?
So ARI Europe is really a project of the Ayn Rand Institute. It's not a separate entity. It's part of the Institute. It's really going to be run out of one person's home in southern France. And Annie, who's going to be running ARI Europe for us, the project manager for this project, is going to be coordinating all our events, all our projects, all our activities on the European continent.
But I hear students and other organizations are getting involved. Is that right?
Yes, the focus of ARI Europe is really going to be to go after students, to engage with students, to really expand what we do in the United States with regard to student engagement, student education, trying to expose students to Ayn Rand's ideas, really to expand that to include Europe. In a sense, that sweet spot that I've talked about often of age between 16 and 30, where people are open to new ideas, where people can be exposed to a radical philosophy and engage with it, I think in a very positive sense. There's nothing uniquely American about that sweet spot, and there's no reason to think that we can only appeal to American students and get them engaged with Ayn Rand's ideas. So we want to expand that to Europe now. We want to bring it to European students, so we're engaged with European student organizations. And one of the mechanisms by which to get to students is through the various think tanks and other organizations in Europe. So we're building up relationships with European think tanks. And hopefully, not only we will be engaging with students, but also be engaging with the battle for ideas going on in Europe in a similar fashion to the way it's going on in the United States.
But the United States is definitely different than Europe. So what are some of the challenges that ARI Europe is going to face?
Well, a big challenge is language. Europe is not really, it's a continent with many countries with many languages. And in spite of kind of the European Union and the closeness of Europe, the languages are, you go from Norway to Bulgaria and Greece to Poland to Spain, to everything in between. You've got multiple languages. So that's a big barrier, and we're going to address that. Both with, some of the talks are going to have translations as we, engage with European audiences. But we're going to launch a series of websites in the various languages, all taking content from the existing ARI website and the look and feel of the ARI website. And we hope that over the next 2 years, we will launch in 15 different European languages. So certainly one barrier is the language. A lot of Ayn Rand's nonfiction is not being translated, or only parts of it are being translated. That's a barrier. And then another barrier is cultural. There's no question. Europe is far further down the road towards statism and collectivism than is the United States. And Europe has never had the American sense of life, not in a deep sense, or at least not for 100 years. So it's hard enough in America, if you will, because of our enemies are so expansive. We're challenging the philosophy, but at least in America we have the American sense of life on our side. In Europe, the barrier is much higher. In Europe, not only are we challenged by the ideas, by the explicit ideas, but we're also challenged by a much more ingrained collectivist, altruist sense of life, second-hander sense of life. So it's going to be much more difficult. On the other hand, if you look around the Ayn Rand Institute, so many of the people at the Ayn Rand Institute are immigrants. And if you think about objectivist intellectuals, so many objectivist intellectuals are immigrants. So you can't give up on the rest of the world, and there's certainly indications that there are many people around the world interested in ideas and that can be reached.
So definitely some challenges. So what do you see as the opportunity then?
Well, the opportunity is that there's a lot of interest, and there's growing interest. If you look at book sales over the last 30 years, there has been a significant increase over the last, I'd say, 8 years in editions not in English. We haven't broken it out yet exactly where that's happening, but it certainly seems to be a significant increase in non-US sales of the nonfiction and the fiction of Ayn Rand's books. So there seems to be growing interest outside of the United States. That's one. Second, I've traveled a little bit, so we've kind of tested the waters. And we get large audiences for talks and a lot of engagement and a lot of interest around Ayn Rand's ideas. And we have been approached by a variety of student organizations, by foreign think tanks, to get engaged. And lastly, there's been this interest from donors, from potential donors, from contributors, from businessmen of wealth who are interested in seeing Ayn Rand ideas brought to Europe. So we hope to leverage the fact that book sales are up. We hope to leverage the real interest among students. It's definitely there. I mean, I get the largest audiences for talks that I give are actually in Europe, not in the United States. So there's definitely interest. And lastly, we're going to, all the money we raise, all the money we spend, put it that way, all the money we spend in Europe will be raised in Europe. So there's definitely fundraising opportunities in Europe. And they are motivated, interested, passionate individuals in Europe that would like to see Ayn Rand's ideas brought to that continent.
So still a fertile ground there.
Fertile ground. And another thing we have to remember is we don't know where the next Ayn Rand is going to come from or Leonard Peikoff is going to come from. We don't know where the next massive, disproportionate contribution to the body of work that is objectivist. We don't know where that's going to come from. And if planting some seeds and investing a little bit in Europe and making sure that they are exposed to Ayn Rand's ideas and are familiar with Ayn Rand ideas, who knows what kind of the payoff will be down the road. So to a large extent, the idea of trying to influence the culture, trying to change the culture, you have to experiment with a lot of different things in order to figure out what works and what doesn't. And to a large extent, ARI Europe is an experiment. It doesn't change the focus of most of what we do here in the United States. We're not making a massive shift of resources, financial or human resources, to it. But the finances are going to come from Europe, and we're going to use some resources in the US, and we're going to try to use as many local resources in Europe as possible.
So in order to celebrate the launch of ARI Europe, you're going on a tour. Where are you speaking?
I am. So I'm speaking in many places. We will start next week in Warsaw, where I'm doing 2 events. I'm doing a debate and a talk. We're then going to Bulgaria, and then to Athens, Greece, followed by Stockholm, Sweden, Prague in the Czech Republic, and then we finish kind of this launch with this big launch event in Copenhagen. We're actually I'm doing 3 events. I'm doing a talk at a bar on self-interest on a Saturday night. I'm doing a debate. Hopefully it'll be a well-attended debate on inequality at Copenhagen University. And then we're doing the launch event at the Saxo Bank headquarters. So it's very exciting. Again, there's a lot of interest. Based on just Facebook interest, it looks like these events are going to be very well attended. So we're excited that. To the launch event, we have a number of significant think tank leaders from all over Europe are coming. They want to be engaged. They want to work with us to expand Ayn Rand's presence in Europe. So we have to remember the fundamental idea here is to get Ayn Rand's ideas into the debate in Europe. And the primary mechanism is to engage students with these ideas. And we want to get Ayn Rand's books read. We want to get the ideas discussed. We want ultimately to get these ideas taught at universities. But we want to get Ayn Rand's philosophy into the debate and discussion on the university campuses all over Europe.
So what do you want Europeans, especially European students, to do surrounding the launch?
Well, I think that the most important thing they can do is promote Ayn Rand's books. Get the books onto campus, get the ideas discussed and debated, get your friends to read Ayn Rand, and then invite, contact us. Let us know you are interested in Ayn Rand, let us know you're interested maybe in an event. Let us know what your level of interest is and your level of knowledge in Ayn Rand's ideas is. We want to create a massive database of contacts, primarily students, but not just students. If you're interested in supporting us financially, if you're interested in helping organize events, if you're a think tank that has contacts into universities, let us know. Really, the message is to everybody in Europe who's interested in the ideas, let us know your interest, let us know what you're interested in, so we can start creating a network of students, of organizations, of individuals that can really support a robust ARI presence in Europe.
So where can people find out more information about the launch and the tour?
If they go to ari.aynrand.org, so ari.aynrand.org, and click on events, all the events would be listed there, including all my separate debates and talks, and also the launch event in Copenhagen. Everything is listed there.
All right, thank you.
My pleasure.